Hello and welcome, this is rooflemonger, and in this video I want to talk about the Khans. So I want to talk about Shao Kahn and I want to talk about Kotal Kahn and why they are not that great in Mortal Kombat 11. It's not to say they have nothing at all, because everyone, even when you're bad, you still have something, but these boys, they need some help. So what I'm going to be doing in this video is I want to go over what exactly makes them not the best characters in this game, makes them struggle a bit more than the average character. I will go over a couple of the things they do have that is kind of decent, does work in their, small feather in their cap, right? And I want to give some of my own personal suggestions on what I would do to make these guys better. So, between the two Khans, it is my opinion that Kotal Kahn has it worse off. Not to say Shao Kahn gets off scot-free, but Kotal is worse off between the two. So let's just start with Kotal. And let's just start with a really big one. So, the game has been out for a few weeks now, and I'm sure if you put any of my time in the game, you know all about like scrambling for position when you're in each other's faces and all that kind of stuff. And what makes you win these kind of scenarios generally is after you block or you get a successful hit, you then you transition into a fairly quick mid, and that mid usually is going to be hit confirmable, and from that hit confirm, you can get your combo, that kind of fun stuff, right? And Kotal's issue in this regard is a lot of characters, after, say, they get a down one or they block a down one or whatever, right, when they try to take their turn and try to get their hit confirm, a lot of characters have mids that are, say, anywhere between 9 and 12 frames, and they can use their 9 to 12 frame mid or low and hit confirm into a combo and go from there, right? Now, Kotal's fastest hit confirmable mid is 22 frames. So this move, which is admittedly a decent move because that's quite some range to it, this move is 22 frames startup, and this is his fastest hit confirmable mid. So if you want to do this in their face, then, welcome to getting D1, welcome to getting uppercutted, welcome to just about anything and everything, right? That's the best option he has. He has something like Forward 1. Forward 1 is a perfectly serviceable move here. In fact, if we just look at the frame data here, we can see Forward 1 is 11 frames. That's awesome, right? And hey, you can totally hit confirm from this move, except for the fact it's a high. And once again, in this scramble situation where both players are kind of in each other's faces, just kind of mashing around for supremacy here, a high is not going to cut it no matter how fast that high is, right? It has use in the neutral, when people aren't in each other's faces trying to jab each other out, right? So, from this range, it's very strong. But in that up-close scramble situation, it's pretty much useless. You have to make them want to respect the fact, to start blocking, all that kind of stuff. And a high is not going to sway them from mashing down one or mashing uppercut. So, yeah. And when it comes to the mid options, his is just very poor. Now, when it comes to his actual mids or lows that are quick, even then, it's still pretty slow. So he has Forward 4, which I call the Shawn Michaels kick here, Sweet Chin Music. This comes in at 15 frames, which still isn't very fast. And if someone has their down one blocked and you go for it, they can still mash another one, usually get you before that'll come out. It's a single hit. It's not the worst move in the world, but it certainly, doesn't really dissuade any wars. It's not a big punish for making a mistake or mashing too much, right? If someone only takes 7% as their punishment for overmatching or going a little crazy, it's not really much of a dissuader versus, taking like anywhere from like 25 to 30% in the combo, right? And the other one here is Forward 3, which is a low, and that's 17 frames. And it does have a built-in string, which knocks them way the far away here. And once again, that's 17 frames. That's very slow. So outside of his basic pokes, he has nothing to contend with up close. So we talked about Kotal and how his Forward 2 string, the advancing mid, is a good footy string, and it is, absolutely. It's probably the best thing about the character, honestly. But we have another string here. This is back 223. Now, back 223 is safe on block, but there's multiple layers of issues with this one here. First up, there's a massive gap in the part that makes it safe. Now, say, okay, well then, I'm going to do the thing where I'm going to try to bait the flawless block or something like that, right? The problem with this move is you don't even have to respect the gap. So the move itself is punishable on block right here. So see how he's blocking right away? So all we have to do is attack him and punch him. So say if he does the full string, we can literally just knock him out of it. There's nothing the character can do. We can even get a full punish if you have a not slow stand jab like Shao Kahn does. He has a very slow stand jab, right? But for most characters have a 7-frame stand jab. No matter what Kotal does, as soon as he does that move, as soon as he does the back 2-2, this move right here, and you block, he's dead. He's 50-50ing himself for doing the move. Against most of the cast, regardless if you do the follow-up or not, against most of the cast, it's literally a punish right then and there. Because the gap is too small between back 2-2 and back 2-2-3, so they can just sneak in a normal. Once again, we jabbed him out here with Shao Kahn. That's a 7-frame down 1. A lot of characters have 7-frame 1s, or an 8-frame would do as well. His is a little slow at 9 frames, but still. Just for the act of attempting this string, you can punish him no matter what he does. And on top of the fact, this move here, the back 2, is not amazing in and of itself, because back 2 is a 17-frame high, so it's not that good. The range is also very inconsistent. Right there, as you can see, you can hit with the tip of it and completely miss the second hit, destroying any combo opportunity you might have from that. The move is just bad. As a character who's nominally meant to be like, you know, kind of a neutral lord, you know, very strong in neutral, and this is one of the tools he has to quote-unquote, you know, use in the neutral, it's just god-awful. Oh my god, like, you literally, as soon as you press this button, you're putting yourself into 50-50, and you better hope you hit. Because most of the cast, as soon as you block this, you're done, and that's all there is to it. And to quickly get on to some other stuff here, Kotal has the parry. It has 14 frames of startup. 14. Which makes it basically useless as a parry, because it has so much startup. Like, what are you going to do? Like, yeah, you can catch the odd fireball, and you do get the damage buff for it, but, like, the damage buff lasts for, like, not even a second. It's just bad. Once again, 14 frame startup here. This should be, like, 4 frame startup, not 14. As a 14 frame startup, this basically makes this a dead and ineffective move. Now, going on that, so we are on the Ascension variation here, so that's the one with the command grab. It also has the quote-unquote enhanced Sunlight, and this move is straight up worse than the base Sunlight. Like, the basic non-improved Sunlight is better than this. You can aim it medium, or you can aim it far, and that's it. So you can never set the Sunlight on yourself. If you have the foe in the corner, half the time the Sunlight's going to miss, depending on their character widths. It's really bad. Also, the Sunlight in this game, let's just turn on our frame data real quick here. Sunlight, the startup is kind of awful. There's basically no safe way to set up Sunlight. Even if you, like, say, do a corner combo and you try to end, like, with that and do Sunlight or something like that, the enemy can still wake up time and get a full punish on you. So, the Sunlight startup and recovery is god-awful. You almost never want to use it. Like, look how long it takes for me to be able to block after I do a Sunlight. See how long that is? He's saying anyone couldn't react to that? Anyone with any kind of forward advancing move, like a shadow kick, a flying kick, or any kind of projectile, that's a free punish. The startup is god-awful for what it is, and recovery is really bad. There's really basically no opportunities to set up in the corner. Once again, the base version is better because at least it is set on top of your head. It's just really bad. Now, here's a really big one for the one of the 2 competitive variations here, the command grab. So the command grab, if you get it, you do this cool little animation, and as you can see, your tattoos start glowing a little bit, right? So it stacks up to 3 times, and you get a little bit of a damage buff if you get a command grab. Now, here is the issue with the command grab. So, 1, the damage for the command grab is only serviceable here. So 125, as you see here, is less than a stock throw. Our basic throw does more than that, right? If you want to EX it, here's the big problem. You want to EX it, you'll get 18, or 180 rather, 18%, and you'll fling them all the way across the screen. And that is really makes the move kind of crap. Like, I can't say anything else. I see the buff fades really quick here. The buff is nice, right? But it doesn't make up for the fact this move should not switch sides. Like, having put a lot of time into Garrus myself in the new era variation and seeing what an actual good command grab can do in this game, this move is just laughably bad in comparison. Not only does it have like half the range of Garrus's command grab, the fact that you always switch sides, so if you do any kind of corner, any kind of combo, right? If you want to get any kind of real damage, your progression is now ruined, and you flung them, and you've cornered yourself. Because otherwise, you're stuck doing something like this, and like that's kind of like whatever damage, you know, like that's not really worthwhile, right? So you want to take your damage, but if you take your damage, you've lost all corner progression, and not only that, you're putting yourself in the corner. The fact that this move throws people so far back is ridiculous. I guess the idea is, well, you get the buff, right? But the buff's whatever. I'd rather not have the buff and, you know, keep my side, honestly, to be brutally honest with you. And what's scary about keeping the buff and that, you know? If you are giving me a grapple, the idea is, you know, you should be scared of the grab. You should want to play around the grab, right? If you're giving me a grappling variation, that should be a centerpiece of the move. And instead, like, honestly, I just resent this move for what it offers. Like, I'd much rather be able to just keep the same side. Like, it's no reason it shouldn't. And you can say, well, a lot of that's based on the one variation, right? So what about the other variation? The other variation has the better sunlight, despite not being enhanced by the ability, right? Although it still has the same issue of it takes forever before you're allowed to block, and you can't really use it for setups in the corner. And it has the Panther, and that's all really cool. It looks really nice, right? But the issue is then we've lost the Con Cut, which is a variation-specific move. So if we're looking to, say, get damage off 424, which is our absolute best string by a mile, and that's it. That's the combo. We're done. That's it. No launch potential, no nothing. That's as good as we're going to get mid-screen. And that's just a bummer. Like, that's extra not worth it almost, because, like, now you're playing on top of all the other issues we have, talking about, like, you know, bad normals and all this other issue, like, so struggling so bad. Now we just have really bad damage for mid-screen, because that's all we can do. There's nothing else we can do. There's no launch potential. There's just no nothing. So as I said, I'd also speak some good things, just, you know, have some positivity, and otherwise, I guess, negative video. So what things does Kotal have that's actually pretty decent? So one, as we went over here, 4-2-4 is absolutely his best move, and by quite a bit here. If the rest of his moveset was in line to help support something like this, that'd definitely be a really big feather in his cap. It is just straight up a good string. He also, while it's not one of the best ones, he has a pretty serviceable down 4. Has a very good low profile to it. Leaves you pretty advantage on hit. And that just works out really well. Also, speaking of moves here, the unblockable. It's just fast enough where if you're flitting around in neutral here, you know, and especially if you got him in the corner, it's just fast enough to catch people sleeping. Unlike, say, the older MKX game where they'd really have to be asleep at the wheel to hit that, right? Comes in about 40-ish frames, so yeah, it's just fast enough. If you're using unblock strings or whatever, that's very gimmicky, but it's just fast enough in the neutral and you're both trying to see what each other's doing. You can catch someone just sleeping with it, and that's pretty handy. It's good to use sparingly, but it's pretty handy. Also, I'm a big fan of his projectile. So it does 8%, which is a little bit higher than average, which is nice. And yeah, it's a high, and it's not particularly fast. But it does have a crushing blow attached to it, so if you're trading with each other from full screen, the crushing blow is 25%. So in a lot of, like, matches where a character has a much better full screen presence than him, he can still, at least while he has a crushing blow as a threat, say, okay, yeah, you're definitely better than I am from full screen, but all I need is one trade and we're going to even up really quick. And I do like that quite a bit. Alright, so now we've talked about Kotal Kahn and a bevy of issues for him, and not every single thing, but I want to highlight a couple of those. Now let's talk about Shao Kahn. Now once again, Shao Kahn is better off than Kotal, just not by much. And mostly just thanks to this, honestly. 4-3 makes up for a lot when it comes to that. But let's talk about some of his issues. So one of the biggest issues that plague Shao Kahn is simply kind of the same as Kotal, in that his movesets and his variations are just kind of bad. So we're in the Risen Emperor variation right now, and this has, of the 3 abilities per each of those, of the 6 total, this one has the best one in Annihilation. This is, if you've seen this move, this is generally how Shao Kahn tends to end combos, and that's definitely works. Like, it's good, it does what it needs to do, it works, it's alright, it's everything it needs to be, awesome, right? But then comes the other stuff here. So one is Dark Priest. So Shao Kahn calls a little priest here, and he gets a buff to his hammer. It makes basic hammer strikes do more damage. You see here it does 30. And if you have the priest buff up here, it does 33. So a nice little buff there, and it applies to all hammer moves. Also, you get an extra big buff for throws. So normally throws do 140. while he has the buff up, his throws will do 200. That's much more significant, as you can tell here. And the buff ran out partway through there, but you get the idea, right? So that's all well and good, except for the fact where it's stupid slow. So look how long it takes for me to be able to block after doing this move. So as you can see here, it takes forever and a day. And there's plenty of buffs in this game. You know, like say Scorpion, he has one of the better variations there, with the fire buff. And that's lightning quick, right? This is very slow. And much like Kotal and his Sunlight issue, there's no combo you can do that will let you safely do this. Even if you choose to end the combo prematurely and, you know, ideally using it to space out and all that kind of stuff. So something like this, right? And the time it takes me to block, the enemy can get up and easily punish me. So there's no way to safely set up this move. And while the reward is nice, it certainly doesn't make up for the fact that it's so effing slow, to be honest with you. It's too slow to do in a real practical match situation, end of story. Now we have the up hammer. So up hammer, in the first few days before I learned what's up, in the first few days I thought, wow, this is his best move by a lot. As you see here, very safe on blocks, only -1 on block. So a lot of times you can just, like, you know, do quick poke, go into it, and like if it hit, awesome. And if it got blocked, well, it's only -1, right? But here's the issue. So I have the dummy set to do it here. And like say I try to poke him out of it, right? Well, it didn't work so good, and sometimes if I'm quick I can get a trade, but I still get smacked, right? So that's an issue, except till we learned a very basic thing. And that's that. So no matter what, Shao's always going to wildly lose the trade, as you can always trade an uppercut for the hammer going your head. So that's 14% for taking 5%. And that simply means Shao Kahn's going to lose very quick if we do this. And Kotal also has one of the worst uppercuts in the game, so sometimes I'm missing it. So as you can see there, a lot of people have faster, better uppercuts than him, but still, even with his bad uppercut, I can still do it, right? Let alone the fact that you can obviously perfect block it here and get a full punish and all that kind of fun stuff. So a move I thought was very good early on in the first few days of the game turns out to be pretty bad and will get you killed for trying it on multiple levels. Either you can do the uppercut trade, the flawless block window is very easy to get because it has a very predictable landing time. On multiple levels, this move stinks. Now here we are in the other competitive variation, and issues are just even worse here. So this one has the buffs and debuffs here, rather the taunts. And we talked about how Dark Priest is slow. At that slow, this is downright glacial for either one of these here. And you see here, startup and recovery, it's really long. Like I see here, see how fast it takes me to block after doing this?
You suck.
As you can see, there's literally no possible way not to get hit out of it. So if there's no possible way not to get hit out of it, then what's the point, you know? What is the point? Like, because you're gonna get smacked out of it every single time. This variation has the hammer chuck, and I guess it's serviceable. It's definitely better than the spear, which is really bad. The spear, which is a basic move, it's not variation specific. You would think it'd be better than it is, and it's alright when you trade, I guess, because it'll let you recover before the enemy for the most part. But the angle's really bad. It does only 6%. It doesn't even do the average. Most projectiles tend to do 7%, and this one only does 6%. So that is pretty rotten, and a lot of smaller characters can literally just walk underneath it while he's throwing it. Man, so yeah. So, is that better? Yeah, sir. It's definitely better. And then we have the low. So the low, it works as a low, I suppose, right? But Shao Kahn's gameplay was never all about like high-low stuff, and no matter how you want to think of him, that's not really the game plan. This does have a restand in the corner, and the restand's so bad, the enemy can full combo punish you for restanding them. So that basically means it's pretty dead as a concept right off the bat, right? It's serviceable, except there's no real reason to want to block low most of the time against Shao Kahn, or rather, not to block low. As this string here, it has the overhead, sure. But they follow up mid anyway, so you can just stand block it anyways. So I guess it opens up this as a concept, but Since 4-2 is already pretty slow, it's already duckable. They can like literally uppercut you on reaction if they duck it, or just even poke you or whatever. It's just kind of ho-hum. So when it comes to the normals, he doesn't suffer like Kotal Kahn does. At least he has forward 3, right? Forward 3 is a 10 frame mid, so it's pretty quick. It's in the quick window, right, for mid. So he can't neutral duck it and just mash uppercut or mash D1 or whatever. He's gonna smack you, and he's got a nice little can combo if it connects. And if you're really quick on the ball, because you gotta be very quick, it's pretty hard to do in real match situation. But if you're one of those people with the godlike reaction times, you can indeed single hit confirm it. So it's something at least, right? 4-2, yeah, it's duckable, but you know what? That's fine. The range is obviously quite a bit more than what most characters can put out for a full combo confirm, right? So leaving that a high, I guess that's pretty okay. Stuff like 1-2, 1+3. So that's the cool spear move here. And the main thing is, why? Like, yeah, you get the crushing blow if you get 3 spears in a row, which is already hard enough to do because spear really sucks. But you can't really combo into it in any reliable way because the follow-up's so slow. Like a lot of launchers you'd think can go into the move. Either the 4-2, or sorry, the 1-2, the second hit doesn't hit high enough, and if you let them fall enough to have that connect, then the spear hit's gonna miss, and just, I don't know, like, it doesn't have much value other than occasionally stealing a turn. If you want to do 1-2 as your block string instead of 1-4 for hit confirms. But 1-4 is basically strictly superior because it's less negative on block. It also has a better follow-up for just stagger pressure, all that kind of stuff. And it lets you combo into the leaping hammer in the corner. So, yeah, just 1-2 in the spear, just... I guess it's not bad, it's more just when are you ever realistically going to use it. Scum Grab is another thing here, that's his anti-air. It's just kind of another case of why. So by itself, it does less damage than his uppercut, and he does have one of the better uppercuts. So kind of why doing that? Yes, it's a bit quicker, but he also has a really good jab anti-air, leads into a full combo. So other than the fact you want to switch sides, the only way to do more than base uppercut is to burn bar, and just... why? Like, if you could do a block string cancel on the air grab whiff and have fast recovery, like, say, Kotal could in Mortal Kombat X, then that would be something. But as it stands, it's just not a very valuable move. So, just like Kotal, let's just talk about a couple things he has that is going in his favor. So, one, just like Kotal, his down 4 is good, even better than Kotal's, has more range, and you can very aggressively kind of attack with it. Now, you might say maybe it's not befitting of Shao Kahn to keep... roundhouse kicking the ground. That's maybe not the Shao Kahn playstyle you envisioned. But you gotta go with what works, and hey, that works, right? Once again here, 4-3, that's kind of the saving grace of Shao Kahn. It's the fast mid. It has the can combo, and it does have the single hit confirm. The one thing, the single hit confirm, realistically in real match situations, because once I found out, I'm like, yeah, awesome, right? In real match situations, with all the stress of being a real match, honestly, it's super hard to do in a real match. So I don't know if that's practical for most people, except for those with the most exceptional reactions. But it exists, right? And at the very least, the can combo is better than nothing, right? And also, once again, the uppercut, we talked about that. The uppercut is best in class almost. He has easily one of the best uppercuts in the game, if not even potentially the best. Like, it's wild. It has a lot of range, has an amazing arc. It is just one big no-fly zone on top of hitting people even relatively far away from him here. Like, if we sneak in a little closer, we can hit, right? A lot of characters like Kotal can barely even hit you when you're standing in front of their face because the uppercut's so bad. So in that regard, his uppercut is fantastic. Also, I do like the hammer lunge move. Now, you don't want to fling yourself forward at the guy non-stop like a madman, right? But sometimes, if you just want to get in, it's difficult to react to sometimes as long as you're using it sparingly, right? It's pretty good. Also, it has a built-in turn steal for the EX. This guy right here. As you can delay it somewhat. So the move is safe too, by the way. But if they are prone to just, mashing down one or something right after the block, you can slightly delay it and catch them with the EX and do that. So I think that's actually a nice little feather in his cap as well. So now in this part of the video, I'm going to be saying, you know, what buffs would I like to see for these characters? So they're definitely on the more poopier end of the chart, to put it nicely here. So they definitely need buffs. So I'm going to limit myself to 5 changes per character, because I could say, like, you know, 35 changes I want to see for each character. So I want to talk about 5 changes for each of these characters I feel hit the heart of the issue. These are kind of the things these characters need to compete more reliably. So, first up here, before anything else here for Kotal Kahn, number 1, the command grab no longer switches sides. If you want this move to be scary, if you want this move to be a big part, signature part of the moveset here, this should in no way, shape, or form switch sides. If command grab should be scary, and it should be, then it has to remain same side. If I do my combo and I command grab you, or I, you know, tick grab you in the corner or whatever, if I do anything and then, like a dummy, now I'm the one in the corner, you know, what's the point? It doesn't do more damage than other command throws or anything like that, you know. It's not special in command throws other than the buff. And you know what? You should be scared, right? Like, it should stack. It should be a thing that you consider a really strong part of his game plan. Like, okay, I can't let him keep command grab me because he's going to stack the buff and all that kind of stuff. That should be a core part of the game plan. And instead, it's just a sad part of the game plan. Now, on top of that, number 2 here, Con Cut, the launcher, should be a base move. It should be a regular part of his moveset. It should not be specific only to the one variation, because in this variation, yes, he can get combos. Great, awesome. In the other variation, he literally can't combo you other than like 1, 2, special cancel, done. That's it, right? So that's just sad. His damage output is like way below average mid-screen. It's below average in the corner too, on the other variation as well. There's no realistic way for him to get damage in the other variation, other than like a crushing blow, and that's not going to happen all the time, right? So in that regard, man, oh man, oh man, does that other variation need help? And making Con Cut a base move, so the variation can use it, so he can actually like do a combo, like, you know, like forward 1, 2, forward 1, 2 Jaguar, or something like that, right? At least that would be something. So we talked about the scramble situation for Kotal and how he has basically no options for hit confirm into a combo, other than his 22 frame mid, when everyone else has, like, you know, 9 to 11 frame mids, right? So I would say this, and it's not going to be an awesome change in terms of like tier power, but just make stand 3 a mid. So I'm pretty sure it's universal. Everyone's stand 3 is actually a high, but nuts to that. Just make it a mid. And if that's a mid, then all of a sudden stand 3, 4 is now a hit confirmable combo. And yes, stand 3 is 13 frames, so it's a far cry from 9, 10, or 11 frames, but it's something, right? So you turn that into a hit confirmable combo, and you can do that and change the gravity bit, because as it currently stands, that doesn't really combo, but change the gravity bit or something for that, and give him that. So that way, it's still a slow mid. No matter how you swing at it, 13 frames for a scramble mid, still slow, but then he'd have an option without radically changing how a lot of the moveset works. All you have to do is tweak this to mid, tweak the gravity so this can reliably combo mid-screen or something like that, and then all of a sudden he has some options. Or even with the combination of, say, the throw actually works, forward throw, then you can do something like this, which misses currently, but you know, you get the idea, right? You change it, tweak it, and then all of a sudden he has a tool to work with up close, versus being weak as a kitten as it currently stands. Back 2, once again, we talked about here, the bevy of issues Back 2 has, the fact that it can miss at certain ranges the second hit, even if you do actually get the first hit, the fact that it's punishable as soon as you're 50-50ing yourself for pressing the button, because as soon as they block this, even with the follow-up, they can literally full combo you no matter what you can do from there. So what I would say is this: 1, either way reduce the gap of back 2-2-3, or just make it, you know, this not dead fall and block, you know, make it -7 or something. Like, there's no reason for it to be the way it is currently. And I would even say to shave a frame or 2 off of it, because for what this move does here, being a 17 frame high, considering I could just do this and some mid and I don't got to worry about anything else, yeah, maybe shave a frame or 2, and once again, please fix the fact that it can miss, because that was very frustrating. And the other thing is a little bit of a twofold, but for the variation with the God Ray here, the quote-unquote enhanced version of Sunlight, 1, add a third option. So we have medium, We have far, and add one for close, because as it stands, he only has 2 options. So add one where he can actually put it on himself, like the base variation, because otherwise the base variation is just strictly better, as far as I'm concerned. So if I do that, I don't want to be able to get full punish on wake up, right? Maybe leave me, I don't know, -7, like, or I definitely have to block and, you know, do something because, you know, they can down one me or try to throw me or something, right? But make it so that actually works, that I can actually put the sunlight on someone and apply some pressure in the corner versus just sitting there having a dead move, never using it. So for Shao Kahn, the big one, I guess, is 4-3-4. So that's this guy right here. I think the 4... the second part of it here should be special cancelable, so you can do this and then go right into shoulder charge in the combo. Now, some people have actually told me they think this is a bit much, but I thought about it, and honestly, comparative to everybody else, I think it's fine. There are characters that have more range than Shao Kahn's 4-3 with their mid, and they get the full hit confirm too, like Cassie. Her 4-4 is ridiculous, and that's 9 frames, not alone being 10, right? And she gets full hit confirm in the combo, so why not Shao Kahn? Because already, if you're not aware, the 4-3-4 here, there is a gap here. So you can totally perfect block and get a full punish if they try to do it, right? So there's already a gap there. It's the move has some significant startup to it. So you can already perfect block it and kind of easily see it coming, so why not let it? And if not that, then at the very least, make the cancel window for the single hit cancel of this way longer than it is, because as it is in a realistic situation, in a realistic match, it's kind of on the edge of being like reactable. And there's been many times where like I got myself killed trying it because I make a mistake, right? Once again, some people, if your reaction times are way higher than the human average, maybe it's better for you, but for most people, it's just not going to be a realistic thing. And people pick Shao Kahn because they want to smash people in the face, right? Like, you're not looking for hyper, you know, timing specific things. You want to smash people, so just make the combos from this easier one way or the other is what I'm trying to say. Now, as far as the buff goes, so Dark Priest needs to be much faster. As we stated before, as simple as that. It's way too slow as it stands here. You're always going to get punished for trying it no matter what. And on that flip side here, also the debuffs in the other variation also need to be much faster because they're even slower than this, right? So you're extra going to get beat up because one of them has a crushing blow requirement here where they need the debuff on for this move here. And how in the world are you ever going to get it? Because it's not going to work, basically. Now, the other change here I would like to see is the up hammer. So up hammer, as we went over here, looks strong on paper until you find out it's super easy just to attack through it and get a very unfavorable trade for Shao Kahn and just get him smacked real bad, right? So I would say lessen / remove the gap. So the first hit has enough blocks on to guarantee the second hit falling down or something like that, and then you could just make it -7 on block or something, right? Because as it stands currently, if someone actually knows what's up with this move, it's a dead move. So it cannot remain the way it is because there's no point to it as it stands once someone actually knows what's up. Other than you have a massive life lead, and then you can just do this and like, well, if you want to trade, then that'll be the kill or something. But other than that edge case scenario, man, it's a dead move. I don't really know. There's no use for it in neutral. Basically, there's no use at all for it in neutral. The main use is as a block string. Now, you can also say, hey, you know, remove the gap and leave it -1. Hey, I wouldn't argue that, right? You keep all the benefits for removing the downside. But as it stands against someone who knows what's up with the move, it's a dead move. It's straight up a dead move. And that's kind of one of the biggest problems with Shao Kahn. He has a lot of dead moves, right? So this just has to be better. And there you have it. So that is why the Khans are not ideal in their current state in Mortal Kombat 11, and some of the things that can be done to make them better. Now, are they going to be bad forever? No, I have full confidence in time, NetherRealm with patches and all that kind of stuff, they will be better, right? A lot of their issues can be solved with mechanical tweaks, tweaking the numbers, right? Maybe in Kotal, he needs a little more tweaks than Nether and changing around some of his moves, right? But still, in the end, these are very fixable things without having to like reanimate new moves or wildly change how things work, right? So they are not the best right now, but in time they can certainly be much better, and that is my sincere hope. Because I love these guys, you know, like Kotal Kahn was my main in Mortal Kombat X. I've been waiting my whole life. You know, I'm in my 30s, if you didn't know, and Shao Kahn's a big part of my childhood. I pumped in a lot of quarters for Mortal Kombat 2 and Mortal Kombat 3, right? Shao Kahn, he's been a big part of my childhood, and now I finally get to play him, and then he's kind of right? So I hope these guys can be better. And with that, that is the end of this video. So thank you very much for watching. I hope this video has found you well. Go out and play some Mortal Kombat.